Hey, what's up guys, it's Gage from ARG, and today we're going to be talking about this. Nirvana High Paladin, I think it's called. Yeah, that's what it's called. And it's the first Synchro Pendulum monster we have. We've gotten the XYZ Pendulum, one XYZ Pendulum monster, but now we have a Synchro Pendulum monster, and this thing is ridiculous. As you've probably seen it around the community, a lot of people have been talking about this, and it's a really, really good card. So we're going to just go over it and see what makes it so charming. So we have Nirvana High Paladin. It's a level 10 Dark Spellcaster type Pendulum effect monster. 3300 attack, 2500 defense, pendulum scale 8. Its pendulum effect is, if your opponent pendulum monster attacks, that monster is not destroyed by battle, and battle damage you take as a result becomes 0. And at the end of the damage step of your opponent pendulum monster's attack until the end of the turn, all monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to that monster's attack. Then its monster effect. It requires one tuner, one or more non-tuner synchro monsters. And if you would synchro summon this card, you can treat one pendulum summon monster you control as a tuner. And then if this card is synchro summoned using a pendulum summoned pendulum monster as a tuner, you can target one card in your graveyard, add that target to hand. If this card destroys an opponent's mountain by battle, you can have your opponent's life points. And if this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or by a card effect, puts this card in the pendulum zone. This card's ridiculous. So let's just kind of go through it and talk about the relevancy with the level and everything. A level 10 Dark Spellcaster type pendulum effect monster, 3300 attack, 2500 defense. It's huge. It's really big. So getting its effect to destroy something by battle isn't really that difficult. But the thing is, bringing this thing out is a little bit difficult. Or is it? Let's kind of talk about it. So we have one tuner or one or more non-tuner synchro monsters. But the tuner aspect of it is kind of mitigated by the fact where it literally could be any pendulum monster that you pendulum summon is treated as a tuner. So that's pretty awesome in the fact where you don't have to gear your deck towards bringing this guy out, because it can kind of just happen with the fact that if you just play pendulum monsters that fit the level sufficiencies, it works out. But the thing is it requires one tuner and one or more non-tuner synchro monsters. That's a little bit hefty kind of a thing, the synchro monsters tack on to the end there. It's a little bit weird because if we look at a deck like Draco Pals now that consistently drops Ignister, you're going to have to play a level 2 tuner or a level 2 pendulum monster to bring this thing out, which that doesn't work out too well. I mean, there isn't really any level 2 monsters you want to play, any level 2 pendulum monsters even at that will work out with that. So that's a little weird, but I do think by the time we get this card, there'll be something to gear it towards actually bringing it out kind of in a manner that doesn't involve jumping through loops and ladders. Hoops and ladders, same thing. I don't know, jumping through hoops. That's probably the thing I'm looking for. Jumping through hoops to bring him out. So it can't be that hard to bring him out in the future when we do have support that actually goes with it. But the effect that just goes with this guy is totally worth whatever you have to probably jump through to make it. Because let's just read it. So going down the list here. If this card is synchro summoned using the pendulum summon pendulum monster as a tuner, which you probably normally would be doing, you can target one card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. Okay, well let's compare this to a card like D-Mock. Why is D-Mock still banned when this thing is actually going to get released? Because this thing is like D-Mock on steroids. So being able to add any card from your graveyard to your hand, it literally fills the same role as D-Mock, being able to add Foolish Bear or Raigeki, but it can also add any monster in your graveyard, any pendulum monster that might have gotten sent there for some reason, or any trap card from your graveyard. That's totally ridiculous. I don't see how that's not disgusting. Like being able to add any card from your graveyard to your hand. That's just gross. But also being able to, when I destroy opponent's my better, have my opponent's life points. Wow, like having your opponent's life points is also ridiculous. Because turn 1, if you drop this and your opponent has 8,000 life points, you're going to drop them down to 4,000 really quickly if you can drop this thing and attack successfully. So that's pretty disgusting in its own too. And if we have a card like Life Equalizer running around now, where giving your opponent a whole bunch of life points only to take it away really quickly is something really common. And I mean, even with cards like Upstart Goblin and everything, you're still going to drop your opponent down to 5,500 even if you do activate 3 Upstart Goblins, which is still a huge amount of damage on turn 1 if you just be able to have your opponent's life points right away like that. Ridiculous. That's so disgusting. And if this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or by card effect, place it in the pendulum zone. So it's scale 8, so it's not like it's really hurting you if it has to go to the pendulum zone. It's not a drawback. It helps you. That's all it does. Because it's a level 8, it literally encompasses probably everything you're going to be pendulum summoning. As we normally see scales actually only fitting around the 1 through kind of 6 range right now. 6 at the highest. I mean, Archfiend Eccentric says 7. So, I mean, you pendulum summons 2 through 6s. But that's the most we've seen right now, and it works for everybody. I haven't seen any complaints for it. So it's like Maybe in the future it might be a hindrance, but I doubt it. I think it's only going to help to bring another one of these copies out in the matchup that this deck will be played in. So it's pretty cool. And then when it's in the Pendulum Zone, monsters, your Pendulum monster, when you attack, it's not destroyed and you take 0 damage. And that's relevant because of its second effect, where it will decrease all monsters' attacks down by the attacking monster's attack. So if you attack with a Pendulum monster that has a whole bunch of attack, you could actually potentially make all their monsters 0 for the rest of the turn. And if you have pretty much more than one monster on the field, one Pendulum monster on the field, you're going to probably be able to OTK through literally any board, unless they have some sort of removal, of course. But at that point, if you have like a Pendulum Summon, if you Pendulum Summon 5, okay, and then you attack with the one with the most attack or enough to drop it down by enough, you literally decrease all their other monsters. And even if their monsters can't be destroyed by some reason, or they're actually kind of big, I guess, you're still going to be probably dealing enough damage to OTK at that point, because that's a lot of attack to kind of attack off of all the monsters. So that's pretty cool. And then even at that, the battle damage you take results to 0, but still, if you attack through a monster and you kill it, they're still going to take the battle damage from that resulting battle. So it's still going to be a lot of damage to handle for your opponent, and having multiple monsters on the board will just not help them at that point. So this card here, altogether, putting everything together, is totally insane. Just from everything, from its summoning conditions, how it's so unique. Yeah, it could be pretty simplistic in the future, even though it's a little awkward right now, because the Synchro monster kind of requirement's a little weird. But even without that, even looking at everything else this card does, whatever you have to jump through to be able to do it, it's totally worth it, in the sense that this card is just ridiculous. But let me know what you guys think of Nirvana High Paladin. Do you guys think it's more of a generic card, or do you think it's only going to probably fit itself into one archetype? I don't know. I can't tell right now. I don't know if there's a specific archetype it's going to find its way into, or it's just going to be that generic go-to Synchro monster. Because the way it's kind of made, it's supposed to be, I guess, more akin to that of a XYZ monster, being the fact that you really don't have to play anything specific like a tuner in the deck, because anything you Pendulum Summon is treated as it. I like it a lot. This card's really disgusting, and I love it. So let me know what you guys think of Nirvana High Paladin. Do you guys think it's broken, or do you guys think it's just okay? I don't know. I'd like to hear what you guys think. But if you guys want to buy or sell product, if you want to attend Hell events, if you want to read articles from the top players, all 3outgames.com, which page to go check out. Be sure to like our Facebook fan page, subscribe to our Twitch stream if you haven't already. But as always, I thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Catch your ARG. Signing out.